I'm super excited to introduce Kali and Raschad from Speedy Fresh Laundromat. They are just kicking butt. Their laundromat is over in Brooklyn. We're very honored that they chose the Curbside Laundries platform. So it was about a year that they're doing very well in wash and fold and pickup and delivery. About in March, things just exploded. Their growth has been significant, about 10% every single month, or maybe about 20% every single month, month after month. And the defining moment in that situation is they went with the Curbside Laundries website, and we provided consultation for their business for them to be found online, because that's the number one place to find customers. I'm excited to hear about their story. And first off, I'm curious as far as how you got into the laundry business.
Raschad, Noah, and I actually have been partners, and we own a couple of small buildings in Brooklyn. And we've been landlords in real estate for, I guess we bought our first building in 2016 together. Is that right, Raschad?
Yeah, definitely.
And, we're all very active, hands-on landlords. We all have kind of our strengths and work together to make sure that the buildings run smoothly. Right before COVID, actually, we had just gone through a refi with our two buildings. And we had this equity sitting in the bank. And with the equity, we were getting very disenfranchised with the returns on real estate in Brooklyn and New York in general. There being a lot of regulation. So we started talking about getting into a cash flowing business. When we got down to it, we wanted to try to find something that was semi-absentee. And I say semi-absentee because 2 years later into it, I wouldn't say that you should get into the laundry business, especially with pickup and delivery, and think of it as semi-absentee. But we are able to run it and not be there all the time, which is, achieved what we're looking for. So to make a long story short, we had this equity sitting aside, and we were online, and we found a consultant locally here in New York whose job was to help you find a site for a very small fee, help negotiate a lease, help source all of the machinery and equipment, work with an architect and a GC to build a laundromat from scratch. And we signed a lease, and we haven't looked back, and we're very happy we've done that, and we're able to diversify out of real estate as well. So now we have an actual real brick and mortar business, and that's how we got here.
Fantastic. And one thing I noticed too, because during our consultation and phone calls, is it's three owners. Everybody's always intellectually curious, like, how do we grow this, or what things to do? And I see you guys networking with a lot of different people. I think that's part of the reason why you guys are growing, is because you're like a sponge, just looking for information, but then you also act on it. And that segues into, how do you have a successful partnership? That is a hard thing. And you guys are obviously work well together, and you've got proven results. So I was just wondering what your secret is.
Let me preface this, and I'll let Raschad go. This might make this the most interesting podcast you've had yet when we try to answer this question. But Raschad, I'll let you start.
Yeah, so actually me and Kali's like oil and water, right? We don't mix at all, But one thing we respect is each other's strengths. Kali has always this ingenuity to get on point with everything. And I know I don't have that. But I'm a workaholic. I can get the job done. Kali really took front of the business and the back of the business and kind of merged them together. As a partnership, it's three different minds. We have like difference in thought process, but one thing that really catapulted us from just people who just partner up together and then they fight and this and that, we do weekly meetings, right? So that has changed the game for us. Sometimes just sitting down in front of each other and, crying a little bit, laughing together, hanging out, One thing me and Kali did was we went to your conference in California, and we got time to kind of understand the difference in thought process of the business together as well, because we're not always together. He has kids. I don't, I'm younger. At one point, Kali was actually my boss, and mentor, and now we're partners. We've been partners for 8 years, so it's been a hell of a ride, and we're continuing it straight forward. And we believe in a generational, this is one thing that we talked about when we first partnered up together, was generational wealth and generational longevity. I hope to have kids just like Noah's having a kid right now, in a couple months. I'm rooting for another Virgo in the team, right? So I think that we are dynamic in that way. All three of us are different, and we all bring something different to the table. But one thing that we all keep in common is proximity, because all our businesses are in Brooklyn, and we focused on kind of almost being like territorial. The three of us were territorial, and we try to get business in the circle where we're at, so that's it.
If I can add one just small analogy, a metaphor for our relationship between Noah, Raschad, and myself. I kind of like to think of it as the three main branches of the federal government. You have the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. Probably fall more into the executive branch myself, whereby Rashad's the legislative branch and Noah is by far definitely the judicial branch. So we, thank God, have those checks and balances for our partnership.
There's so much stuff to unpack there. I mean, number one is having the roles, and actually the best way to hire a lot of times is finding people who complement your weaknesses, where a lot of times people hire but partner up or hire, either way, where they partner up with people who follow in the same footprint, and then they have these huge blind sides. The better way of doing it is exactly what you guys are doing, which is everybody has their strengths. Also, one of the most important things is harmony, because without harmony, if people don't appreciate what the other person is doing, especially if you got different lanes and different responsibilities, it's real easy to overvalue what you're doing and undervalue what other people are doing. So it's respect and understanding everybody's role. And the third one you mentioned is meetings. Yeah, and that's something I really learned from the Curbside conference, a little bit late to the party, but with Stephanie and Claudia from WeWash, they mentioned they have the weekly meetings, but it's like, we really need to do more meetings at Super Suds, because that's so important for harmony, is communication. You're not communicating, those little problems start turning into bigger problems. And the last thing you mentioned is being territorial. And that is one of the best growth strategies. And I've done that in real estate, where you don't want properties all over the place. It's better when you've got your territory. And then that's kind of like your empire growing, and it helps you grow, and especially in pickup and delivery, you got your footprint in different places and grow outwards. When you first started, was it self-serve only? Was it wash and fold? When did you introduce pickup and delivery?
We offered both from the very beginning. The drop-off kind of happened naturally from day one. We had people walking in and wanting their clothes washed, and I think it's just living in New York City, it's a very common amenity to have in a neighborhood. So that kind of organically has grown for us, and it's just steadily been growing. The pickup and delivery side, it's truly been the Curbside platform that has allowed us to think about the business in a way that focuses on pickup and delivery as our growth engine. What we've learned is, you probably can attest to, there's sort of a natural pinnacle to reaching growth for your self-service and for your drop-off wash and fold business. But with the pickup and delivery, the sky's the limit. It really just on how hard you want to work, how many logistical components you can put together and manage, and time that you can put into it. And so, Raschad actually got our first pickup and delivery client, and he kind of is the boots on the ground that manages it. He's the guy who's in the trenches, who's working super hard. Like you said, he's a workhorse. So
before we even started, it was just about reaching out to friends and family and people that we knew. And I used to always bring my car to a certified mechanic. My friend, his name is Pablo, he ended up becoming the owner, and they're always on point with the uniform and everything. And I'm like, what do you guys do with your laundry? Because I'm actually opening one in a couple months, right? And he said, hey, I have the guy, he goes and drops it off and comes and brings it back. And I said, you ever thought about having somebody else to come in and just pick it up so that you don't have to do that? And he said, yeah, that would be great. He said, whenever you start it, just let me know. I'll pay whatever. I don't even remember what price we started it at. That was our first customer for pickup and delivery, right? And it's been every Thursday or Friday, and just straight pickup, probably 20 pounds, 30 pounds, pick up, back, drop off, and that's it. And it's right in the neighborhood. It's really easy, simple. It kind of got us in the thought process of doing more. And what kind of catapulted us was Kali had his kids in camp. They have these big trunks, right, that they take to camp for the summer. And when they come back, that big trunk has to be washed. Everything is clothes, sweaty gym shorts, tees that you play in football and everything like that, basketball. They're rolling in the mud, the grass and everything like that. Callie was like, these guys, I'm more than sure they drop it off somewhere or they get it done somewhere. Actually, Callie and his wife put together this whole system straight from home, where they got all the orders. They asked all their neighbors and friends, which kids were in camp. They had like kind of a list going, and I think it was about 30 to 40 people who actually did it. And the end of that summer, we probably made $6,000 to $8,000 in 1 month just doing the camp laundry. That just changed our mindset of how we wanted the direction of the business to go. So
these customers are all around us. I was just at the dentist, and next door was a sleep center, and I'm thinking, how much laundry do they have? And I was at as a city council member, was having an event. It was actually at a gym. My dad walked down and goes, "Hey, we got a new customer at Super Suds," just by asking while we're there anyways, and having that mindset of pretty much everybody you do business with is a potential customer.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew that people in our neighborhood come back with these huge duffel bags. They want to see their kids when they get home from camp. They don't want to be stuck doing laundry for 3 days. So we went around and started picking them up. And this year we're going to do double what we did last year, which is fun. I've already started with some of the kids who came home and kind of actually cut our teeth also on the platform and setting up items and learning the platform on Curbside by, individualizing certain camp articles of clothing that wouldn't be sort of normal items that people bring into the store and customize it. I think that goes to the customization that Raschad was talking about that's been so beneficial for us. So.
If you ask a typical person, did you know pickup and delivery was a thing? Most people would say, no, I didn't know. And so even though all these laundry mats and laundry services are growing because people like having their laundry done and folded for them, it saves them time. That tells me there's this huge growth opportunity. We're just scratching the surface. But you're in Brooklyn, which many would say is kind of the home of pickup and delivery. What would you say the market awareness is?
Who knows, right? People who are more aware about tech, they're the ones doing the engine searches for the pickup and delivery. But the outreach to the older crowd, like my dad's age, 70s, 60s and up, they're like, oh wow, they see the truck passing by with the labels on it and they're like, wow, oh my gosh, I gotta do this. And, so those are like exciting moments for us when we have that. Then just in the neighborhood, people who pass by, we're down the block from a hospital, and across the street from the hospital is elderly assistive living, right? So we got one of the employees there, right? And then her husband works at the hospital. He comes to the laundromat. So then they tell the residents there, and the residents now ask for the pickup and delivery. The crazy thing about it is that there are a plethora of laundromats just in our neighborhood that are considered quote unquote competitors, but they don't even touch the delivery service. They're scared.
When I was in Brooklyn, I noticed a lot of places said they were doing pickup and delivery, but all they had was a phone number on their awning. And they weren't really even promoting their website. When we first got on pickup and delivery, I thought this was quote a new thing. And I noticed on my dry cleaner, they've been doing pickup and delivery for a long time, but they just had their phone number there. And nobody's going to call in with no pricing information, no nothing. People want to be able to go to your website or to your app and get all their questions answered. They don't want to call up to find out how much does it cost or how does it work or give their credit card over the phone.
I think with a lot of the older generation of operators that are dry cleaners with the other operators in Brooklyn, I think honestly, they're scared of volume. They've been in the business for so long and they have a certain amount of customers that they're okay with the service that they do and the outlet that they have. But to take in more, it's like a no-no. They don't even touch it, and one thing that we've been working on is partnering up with a dry cleaning service that complements us, and that's what we're working on now. We heard it from a YouTube video from Curbside that you make, and we also heard it at the conference. We're trying to implement that, but a lot of these operators, they're scared of growth. They're scared of more volume. So I think that's where we're gonna bring in more outreach to the community where they don't have this pickup and delivery service.
If you'd like to learn more about the wash and fold and pickup and delivery solution, the same one that helped Speedy Fresh over double their revenue, go to curbsidelaundries.com. And don't forget to click like or subscribe.